this camera is like really ugly here because this was the first thing I recorded with my new camera, and the focus is just like terrible at this point. So you're gonna have to bear with those ugly lines. So this was the first match I was talking about that I recorded with this camera, which is why I haven't been battling for a while, because I had this battle and I just didn't have a camera to record this match with. I didn't want to battle anything else and get rid of this recording because it's a battle against wilechase. I want to upload this because it's a battle against wilechase. Why wouldn't anyone want to upload it? So I got a OU, big surprise herder, Wild and OU. We're an OU battle here against wilechase. I haven't heard of him before. He's some weird unknown guy that no one's ever heard of, because who's heard of wilechase? He's some loser, I think, that no one ever likes and always makes fun of for playing standard and shit. So, whatever. We got, yes, that battle. I'm using that one main OU team that I've been using for a while, because it's the only really good OU team I have, and he's using this sand team, so that's going to be a thing. I decided to predict his lead in his Tyranitar lead and go lead with Staraptor, just to scare it out, so I don't know, to prevent it from setting up rocks early game or something, I don't know, but anyways, go for the safe close combat. He goes to do his Runiclus and takes it really nicely, so just gonna switch out now because I am Choice Bandit. I'm locked into it, so there's no really point. I'm kind of fearing he's gonna set up here. My team doesn't really like Runiclus that much, so this thing's gonna be a little bit annoying to deal with, just because the only real efficient way I have to deal with it is to trick it a Scarf with Rotom. So I go into Rotom, he goes into Landorus predicting my switch, and I'm gonna predict him to go into Gastrodon I'm predicting a switch into Gastrodon, so I go into Ferrothorn pretty much. And yeah, Gastro comes out, which is awesome. I'm gonna go for the safe Power Whip, not the Stealth Rocks, because I just feel like getting damage at this point because there's a lot of switching going on. He goes into Lucario, doesn't take it very well, but he still takes it pretty decently. I don't want to take a close combat, so I go into my Starmie predicting the possible CC. He ends up going for the Swords Dance. I'm just gonna stay in there to take the see if Starmie maybe can live in Extreme Speed. I was kind of doubtful, but I really just was kind of sacking Starmie at this point, this early, because I really didn't need it for much since Gastro was kind of alive. I really wouldn't have been able to do much, so Extreme Speed takes me out with a crit, not sure if it mattered. I'm going to go into my Jirachi and just Fire Punch it for the kill. He ends up staying and I guess kind of wanting to scout my set, maybe thinking I'd be defensive and set up with some Stealth Rocks or something, but anyways, he goes into Landorus now. I don't want to really stay in. I'm just going to go into my Rotom. I switched into Rotom feeling that this Landorus was Scarfed, but he's actually a subset, so I know that now. I'm just going to stay in and Hydro Pump, knowing he can't really do too much to me to one-hit KO me, so I'm just going to go for the Hydro to break the sub. I think he just goes for the Smackdown here, which isn't going to be doing too much because it's a Smackdown and whatnot, so I am faster, so I do threaten him out with the Hydro Pump here, so I believe I switch out predicting the Gastrodon to come in again and go into Ferrothorn, but he ends up just, I don't know, I guess maybe predicting me to predict that, but anyways, he ends up going into his Dragonite, so that sucks for me. I'm just going to switch out again because I don't want to take a Fire Punch, and I still want to set up my Stealth Rocks later in the game, so going to Mence this time just to kind of switch it up, and I can get the Intimidate off, and knowing I can take the Fire Punch decently, but he unfortunately gets a crit, which really sucks because it lowers my Mence's survivability a lot, so that really sucks, so I'm going to go for the Earthquake, predicting his switch into his Tyranitar, I want to say. I don't really remember. His match was a while back, but whatever. Earthquake does a decent chunk to the Gastrodon. I'm kind of hoping a Draco will kill, even though it's kind of doubtful if it is a standard set, but I was going to go for it anyway, just because I was kind of hoping he would just stay in and not go for the recover, predicting me to be like a setup set and want me to like DD or something, but he ends up going for the recover, assuming I Draco and assuming he could live it, so that really sucks. I'm just going to switch out my Mence now, just to leave it for fodder for later, because I know he's probably going to recover again, knowing that I die, so I can go into Ferrothorn for pretty much free, and I can set up my Stealth Rocks next turn, so that thing recovers again. I'm just going to go for these Stealth Rocks now, since I have really no reason to not go for it. And he ends up going to Runiclus, predicting Leech Seed, or pretty much predicting anything, since Runiclus can take literally anything Ferrothorn has to offer. So, gonna go into my Mence's Fire now, or no, I'm actually going to Jirachi here, because I know I can take a Focus Blast, I guess was my mindset, in case he wanted to predict me to switch into like Mence and go Psychic, I can take that too, so I guess it was the safest switch, is why I switched into Jirachi there, and now I can just U-turn to get some switch advantage, so I just U-turn now, and now I guess he knows I'm Scarf, because there's no other Jirachi set really carries Scarf, I mean U-turn, yeah, there's no attack called Scarf if you didn't know, so I go into Staraptor on my U-turn as he goes into Landorus, because I can get the Intimidate off, and know after the Intimidate I can live a Smackdown at this range. So I'm just going to go for the Close Combat, predicting his switch into Tyranitar. I could have predicted his switch into Reuniclus, but I figured that since Return and Brave were neutral, both Landorus and Reuniclus, he wouldn't go into it, knowing that he wouldn't take a Brave Bird or a Return as well as he would have liked, so I kind of predicted T-Tar more so just for that reason, so I go for the Close Combat, which is kind of a risky play, but it worked out in my favor, so whatever. I'm going to go into Mence's Fire now as he goes into the Reuniclus, knowing he's probably going to want to set up here, knowing I'm locked into Close Combat, and just go for the Calm Mind, which is why my team just really just doesn't deal with Reuniclus very well, so Mence goes down. I'm just going to go into my Rotom here to trick at the Scarf, because like I said, it's really the only really good way this team has to deal with Reuniclus decently well is to just trick it a Scarf and then deal with the fact that it's locked into a move now. So go for the trick. He ends up predicting that and goes into his choice banded Dragonite. So I decided to trick again just in case he wants to switch out again, knowing he can't really do much to me unless he wants to lock himself in an Outrage, and then I have a free switch into my Ferrothorn. So I decided to trick again, knowing that just because it's easier to just trick again and get my Scarf back, and he ends up just Fire Punch and predicting Ferrothorn. I decided, knowing he could switch moves, I decided to Volt Switch, predicting him to Outrage this turn and go into my Ferrothorn, but he actually just stays in and Fire Punches again. So that was a good play on his part because my Ferrothorn is going to die to the Fire Punch pretty easily. He's going to die to Iron Barbs plus Sandstorm, but, you know, he still kills my Ferrothorn, so that's the thing. And yeah, he's going to die to Sandstorm. So it's a double down here. I decided just to go into my Scarfer, I believe. I'm just going to my Rotom. And he ends up going into Gastrodon, which is like, fuck, I was more so predicting him to go into Landorus, so that really sucks for me. But it's kind of good because I can now just trick the Scarf and deal with this thing a lot easier, so I'm going to trick the Scarf. He ends up just going for the Scald there, and that's going to take me out. He probably should have... I don't know, Scald's kind of... Well, I guess I could have switched out there, but I don't know. The trick was kind of obvious, so... I'm going to go into Staraptor now, knowing he's locked in the Scald. I know I can take one and then 2 KO him with the returns. I'm just going to do that, and I do get a crit here. Crit probably did matter. I don't think it would have won it KO'd, so... In that regard, it did matter, but I don't think Scald would have killed me. I'm not... Character's kind of... I'm not sure if that would have killed. I'm too lazy to do a calc. Whatever. Goes into Reuniclus now. I'm just going to go for this return, knowing I'll do a decent chunk. It does over half, which is awesome. He's going to go for the Psychic. Not quite enough to kill me, but Sandstorm will easily take me out from there, so really doesn't matter. And yeah, Bandit Staraptor does a lot more damage than you would think, dang. Even without Reckless. So I go into Jirachi now. This is my last and my only real good chance of winning this game is to lock myself in Iron Head and just hope for a bunch of flinches. When it comes to Jirachi versus Reuniclus, there's really not much he can do to me. I mean, if he avoids the flinch, he still has to hit a Focus Blast, and I can live another one, judging by how much the last Focus Blast did, obviously. So he has to hit 2 Focus Blasts and hit through flinching. So the chances of Reuniclus beating Jirachi isn't very likely. So in that regard, it's kind of a losing battle in his sense. I keep hitting him down really, really low, and then he gets the recover off, which is kind of irritating. But you know, stall. This isn't really stall as opposed to just stall, keep stalling. I just gotta keep Iron Heading until he dies. I think right here I finally just kill him off with an Iron Head with a crit, which may or may not have mattered, really didn't matter at the end of the game. So now it comes down to 60-40. If I get a flinch, I win. If I don't, he wins with an Earthquake with this Landorus. So I go for the Iron Head, and do I get a flinch? And I get the flinch. That's gonna be the game. So awesome game, wilechase. One of the probably best match I've had in OU in 5th gen at least. So Second Iron Head is gonna take him out. If he didn't get the flinch, he would have easily killed me with an Earthquake. I really didn't feel like I deserved the flinch at the end, but at the end of the game, it was a really fun match. So I had a lot of fun. So that's gonna be a great game, wilechase, and that's gonna be it for today. And I'll see you guys some other time when I feel like posting again.